Walczak. Hi, it's Melanie Morrison with Mindful Mondays. I'm so excited to be here today. I have Lee Walczak, and he's a psychic medium, and we are charging into the topic of navigating when you come out of the spiritual closet. So I'm going to go ahead and pull him on and let him share a little bit about himself. He does some wonderful work with psychic development. And today I'm on StreamYard. So if you want to come in and comment, I'm really excited to connect and talk about this topic. So click the link on StreamYard and then you get to join us. Also, stay tuned, because near the end, Lee and I together are going to pull some cards for you to help give you some guidance in the next best steps forward, especially setting the intention for those who have come out of the spiritual closet or are working to really come out of the spiritual closet so they can outwardly walk their own path with power and confidence. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in Lee. Thank you so much for being here today. If you wanted to share a little bit about you and a little bit about your work, that would be wonderful.
Absolutely, yes. So first and foremost, thank you for having me and inviting me to do this. I'm so excited. And so I am a psychic medium. Can you still see me?
Oh. Yep.
Okay.
See you. I'm still here. You're live.
Perfect. Okay. I had a moment. So I am a psychic medium, and I've been doing that, for about like 9 years now at this point. And I just went public with it on like Facebook and all that, probably about a year ago, I think now. And through that, I've also been doing a lot of work, being a guide for people who are developing their intuition, their psychic abilities, things like that, really just helping them navigate how to work with those things and how to enhance those things and empower themselves. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. And I am, again, super excited to be here. So thank you again. This is great.
Okay, so I think that it's an interesting thing to talk about, especially as we step into. Oh, she said, Amber said hello. She couldn't log in for a minute. But I was saying, especially as we step into the holidays, and meeting with family, we go on to our own path, and it might be quite different from the way we were raised or from the way that people expected us to go.
Yeah.
So could you tell me a little bit about, now you said that you came out, you're starting to share your work recently.
Yeah.
Just tell me a little bit about your process with how you realized, oh, okay, well, these are some new skill sets that I explore.
Yeah.
How do I share these?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it's been a very gradual process for me. And I'm actually just going to go back a little bit with that because it kind of all ties in together a little bit for me. So when I was about 20, I think I realized that fully I connected that I had this ability to communicate with the other side and the departed. And it really completely made sense to me when it kind of clicked. And I was like, oh, okay. And then actually, I was doing that for some years, kind of under the radar. I was actually, I was actually very kind of afraid of what some people would kind of think about it. So I kind of kept it a little bit under the radar, but I was still doing it. And it was just something that brought me a lot of joy to do it that way. So when I was about 26, which was about two and a half years ago now, I actually, I won't get into this, is a whole nother broadcast, but I actually developed a chronic illness. And through my experience with trying to find healing in the chronic illness, what I did realize was that my only responsibility, if you want to put it that way, in this world was to express authentically as myself and to really just be confident in exactly who I wanted to be and who I was, not even wanted to be, but who I was. So for me, it was kind of about peeling back some of those layers And through that process, I actually realized I love doing readings. I love helping people in that manner. Why aren't I doing this publicly? That's kind of like the soul part of me that, is kind of like, why aren't you doing this, publicly? This is such a big part of who you are, and that joy in you. So that's really what kind of shuttled me a little bit into realizing that, what, I need to, for myself, step out of some of this fear. And if you hear a dog, I'm sorry, my dog is just barking in the background. So for me, that's just kind of a very short synopsis of some of the process. But it was about realizing to let go of some of that fear and to really step into myself a lot with it. So yeah.
Yeah, I definitely feel that. It kind of fell for me, it kind of fell in my lap,
Yeah.
I've been holding like goddess circles, and so I'm in Arizona. So when I moved to Arizona, I had in my mind Sedona, and I thought, oh, I'm going to just find all of these peeps that I resonate with in, so close to Sedona, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got here and I was like, well, where are my peeps?
Where is everyone? Yeah. Yeah.
And so I just kind of realized that I needed to attract them. And
Sure. Yeah.
so I set that intention, and I started a book club with using Gabrielle Bernstein's, what is it? The Universe Has Your Back.
Oh, cool.
Because I thought that's just out of the box enough to pull in people that are interested in new topics,
Yeah.
but it's grounded enough that
Right.
I can start this group. And so the group from there just flourished into a space where I was sharing and teaching, and it really turned into like a psychic development experience.
Nice. Yeah.
And from there, I had so much. I was bringing cards and reading cards when we would do the groups, and they were like, well, why don't you do this? You should do this. And I thought, well, why don't I do this?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Here I have, a degree in social science and a degree in
Sure.
business. And I'm thinking, okay, well, that's certainly not what I planned on doing with my degrees.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
But like you, I can so relate to that. I just had
Yeah.
such a passion for
Yep.
doing readings and sharing these psychic shifts that you have as you step into that sort of awakening process.
Right.
And then once you get there and you realize, okay, well, I want to learn more and I want to learn to expand. I had such joy in being able to share how to develop their psychic gifts in a very practical, grounded way.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so then from there, I had someone say, well, hey, I'm starting an office. Why don't you come on and do readings in my office? And I thought, well, I can't say no to that.
Yeah. Yeah. What a good opportunity.
Right. And so I started doing it in person, and then shifted, of course, with everything going on, to online. But I feel like I'm always continuing to keep stepping out of that box,
Yes.
because
Mhm.
I feel like sometimes when you're sharing something that is kind of in the realms of unknown,
Yeah.
there are many misconceptions that come about, that you do need to explore and explain. And I feel like you have to be grounded and ready to do that, for sure. It does
Yeah.
feel like a gradual process.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. I beautifully put. Beautifully put. So that's really interesting, and there are some similarities I can see there. You know, through what you were saying. When I first did the Facebook group and everything, it's almost like I took that first step, or not the group, the page, excuse me.
Right.
It's like I took that first step, and then it was like spirit kind of came in and was like, okay, you're ready to do this now. And, so then it turned into kind of like, what I'll refer to as coaching or guiding. I kind of just resonate more with the word like guiding, I guess. But, because for me, it's about empowering other people. But so guiding, and like you said, really, I continue to step out of that box as a continual process. It's not something that just stopped at one point. It's continuing to kind of evolve and expand. So yeah, I absolutely resonate with what you're saying. Yeah, very cool.
I want to just say hi to our friends.
Yeah.
Amber says hello.
Hi, Amber. Yes, I know Amber. She is on my page actually. I think that's where she's here from, and she's wonderful. So hi, Amber.
So I just want to make sure you can see comments. Can you click over? If you click over, you can see comments. You can see
Oh,
comments.
okay. Yeah, you know what? That makes more sense. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, I
Awesome.
do. Okay. Cool.
And Pamela Watson says good morning from Australia. Oh, I love when people can join from other places. That's
I
awesome. Good
know.
morning, Pamela. I'm excited because I want to share, we've shared a little bit of our experience coming out of the closet.
Yeah.
I also kind of want to share a few little tips for those who are feeling like they're coming out of the closet. And I'd love to hear from you. So
Yes.
um, Lacey has popped in. Lacey,
Hi, Lacey.
I'm so glad you came here with us today. I feel like so many of us can relate to this topic of coming out and sharing beliefs that are very much out of the mainstream box.
Yeah.
When I started doing, so I have these beautiful goddess cards, and I started doing these goddess cards.
Oh, very nice.
Love them so much. I would have people ask me the question like, "Oh, are you worshiping goddesses?" And so I had, and I'm sure that some people do.
Right.
To me, felt like it wasn't the word worship that resonated with me as much as just being able to tap into that universal energy that's
Yeah.
out there in the ethers. And it reminds me of, I've said this before, but it's the perfect example. It's like if I take this beautiful essential oil and I breathe it in, I'm pulling in that energy as I take that breath in, and I'm really allowing myself to shift from that experience of pulling in that smell and that energy that really shifts me. I
Sure.
really look at this work as the same. I believe
Yeah.
that once you tap into this different archetypes, and I feel like divine is so abundant, like divine refused to be put in a box.
Yes. Yeah.
Divine is not limited to just this corner of the world and nowhere else. Like,
Yes, absolutely.
and so I feel like as I have the opportunity to tap into the different energies, I get to shift more of me, and I get to step into the multi-dimensional being that I am.
Yes. Yeah.
So I feel like that's one little tip I wanted to share, and I would love for you to share a tip. So the tip from that story is just that understanding that it doesn't have to be like a religion thing. It can just be
Sure.
simple as
Yeah. Yeah.
just calling in that energy and that shift that you need.
Yeah.
And I feel like we all have a divine right to access any
Yes.
of the energy that can help guide us to our highest self, and that can help us expand and grow spiritually. So
Yeah. I
that's my
love that.
tip before we draw cards.
Yeah.
And I'd love to hear from uh, anyone here if you have any thoughts or feelings about
Yes.
stepping out of this spiritual closet or awakening or any of that. We're here for you, and we are excited to
Yeah.
connect. So, Leah, I'm going to let you share like a tip that you maybe have right
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. And I love what you just said. I really do, because especially what you said about the divine not being, uh, localized to one corner of the world. Absolutely. So I think my biggest thing um, has been what my guides actually gave me this phrase once, and it was hold your own light. And what that means to me is really to, no matter where you are on your journey, to empower yourself by giving yourself compassion, giving yourself love, giving yourself understanding. And I know that there's kind of this in the current mainstream, there's kind of this idea of what self-care means. And while that's all perfect and while that's all good, I kind of take it a bit of a step further, where it's like I check in with my own inner guidance about anything that I need to. And if it's not bringing me a feeling of empowerment, and if it's not bringing me a feeling of joy, then it's something that I know that I need to take a little bit of a look at. And what I will say is I kind of started a little bit with that process after the illness that I did experience. And that's what really catalyzed, I guess, for me. Just even having more of a grasp on my own intuition and my own connection and my own unique connection with spirit and with the divine. So I think that's a really great place to start, is just really kind of checking in with your own guidance, your own inner mystic, your own intuition, whatever word that you have for that. And um, and let it kind of lead you, and know too that it doesn't, and this is what I tell even people that I work with, that it doesn't have to make logical sense to your brain at the time. Intuition doesn't necessarily work like that. So it's about that inner feeling of, what does this feel like to me? Does it feel heavy? Does it feel light? Does it feel joyful? Does it feel, the opposite of joyful? And really, honestly, it sounds very simple, because I think it is. There is a simplicity to it, but that is really what has allowed me to expand and to continue to evolve and grow in my own, psychic intuition, my own mediumship. And so that's always something that I really like to share, is kind of, hold your own light, is what I like to say there. So holding on to all of that, and what makes you joyful and what makes you feel empowered. Because even when I say it, my energy kind of goes up a little bit, and I'm like, oh, I feel empowered. So yeah, so that's where the tip that I would give for people anywhere on their journey, honestly. Yeah.
I love that a lot. It's like, I think, people think about whether they want to believe in fairies or unicorns or angels. And it's so funny because I do a lot of work with fairies.
Yeah.
And oftentimes, because, in the Western world, it's very like, hee hee ha ha, it's fairy, that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
But immediately, a lot of people have no problem accepting that they might have a guardian angel.
Right. Right.
And so I think that's so interesting. And so for those that really want to work with the fairy energy, but are feeling like, oh, like they can't because for whatever reason it's not quite as widely accepted in the Western world,
Sure.
I like to just remind them that yes, of course, it's easier for humans to think, oh, angels would be around humans. But why would we think then angels would only be around humans? Why
Right.
wouldn't angels be around animals
Sure.
and plants? And so when I change the wording a little bit and we just talk about it being the angels of plants and the angels of animals,
Yeah. Yes.
like, oh, you have this. Oh, yeah. Well, why not? Are we so,
Right.
so egotistical as humans that we decide that only we can have? Well, of course not. And so when we are open to tapping into more of that unified energy, I think it's different. So I love that. What is your joy? That kind of like brings me directly into the next topic.
Yeah.
And the next one I'm going to go, so I'm going to give this one, and then I think we're going to pull cards from here.
Yeah.
But the next one I just really felt moved to share is, I do work with oracle cards, and then I do work with tarot cards.
Sure.
And all kinds of different work, and work with the moon and work. So but sometimes I'll step into a space where I feel called to it, but I'm not sure if I'm ready to move forward.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
and there's all kinds of different places, and I even had to do it with the moon. I realized, I actually learned about the new moon through a yoga teacher that I have who now lives in New York. um, Yoga dance, and I had come in and we did this yoga dance, and I just started bawling, and I said, and she went, "Oh, it's the new moon," and I went, "What?" And immediately they had all these limiting beliefs coming in, all these beliefs that weren't really mine. I immediately started thinking, "Oh, well, working with the moon, that's bad," because that
Right.
was what I had heard so often. Oh, that's bad. And then so I had to really step into myself and say, is it bad? Is it
Right.
bad to connect with moon energy? Is
Right.
is that my belief, or
Sure.
is that a belief of someone else's that
Yes.
I signed up to
Yes.
before my spiritual path?
Right.
before
Right.
deciding my own path. And so I think that that's really important when you start to step into your spiritual work and to grow your practices, is that you ask yourself, is this my belief that holds
Yes.
me back, or is it someone else? And so as I stepped into, is this my belief? I
Mhm.
started exploring that. Okay, well, I believe that divine has no bounds. And what a
Right.
beautiful way to connect with divine than to connect with the creations of divine.
Yes. Yeah.
So, and then once I started working with it, it helped me. So as I let go of that limited belief, it helped me to balance myself, to understand my own cycle as a
Yes.
woman, to understand my life, embracing each stage of the life cycle, and
Yeah.
even embracing the different seasons. The seasons
Yes.
I connected with the seasons of the earth, I connected to the seasons of my lifespan as a,
Sure. Yeah.
and I saw the holistic piece of it. So
Yeah.
I guess that let's see if I could make a little token from that, it would just be addressing your limiting beliefs and
Yes.
asking whether or not they're truly yours.
Absolutely. I love that, by the way, because that has been a huge part of my process as well. And I think everyone kind of has to go through it a little bit, or if they don't, then I think it does serve us at very least to kind of look at some of our beliefs sometimes that we're carrying around and just ask ourselves, like, is this really serving me? Is this? Um, and same with you. I have gone. I actually had a very similar experience with the moon. When I was in my kind of illness phase, as I kind of call it now. But I was looking into, because I've always been drawn to a lot of like holistic sort of options and things like that. And there was a lot of, it just, allopathic medicine really wasn't doing, I wasn't resonating with it. So, I was kind of looking into like this holistic sort of option. And one of the things that came up was like, oh, like sometimes symptoms and things like that can come up with the cycles of the moon. And I remember thinking to myself, I was sitting there when I first heard that, I'm like, what? Like, that made no sense to me at all. And as time has gone on, I have realized, and kind of like you, I've kind of looked inside of myself and kind of asked myself, what is this almost resistance? So it's funny you actually mentioned that story, but what is this resistance to the idea of the cycles of the moon? Like the moon is something that controls even the tides and things like that. So, as I kind of started stepping into it a little more, now I actually am a firm believer in, cycles of the moon and how that can translate into our own spiritual lives, our own spiritual experiences is the word that I wanted to use. And while I don't work so much on that, it is a very similar experience. So I loved everything you just said about, I agree 100% about looking inside of yourself and asking even maybe where sometimes those voices of those beliefs have even come from. Because what I've noticed when asking myself that is that a lot of these voices that carry these different beliefs within me sound like voices that I have been exposed to in my life, whether it's like my third grade teacher or, whether it's my parents. And it doesn't mean that anyone is better or less than the other. It just means that we all go through life and you know, we're exposed to these different things and we hang on to some of them and they do perpetuate, through the rest of our life. So that's why I really, really love the idea of looking inward and just kind of being like, where is this belief actually serving me, or who does this sound like? I noticed that so many of these voices, again, that kind of carry these beliefs for me were things that, I had been exposed to through other people. So it's kind of their voices. So I love everything that you just said. That was great. I like that.
Yeah. So it looks like Elizabeth was saying the moon has always been been positive and magical for me. So I
Yes. Yeah.
when we can just connect with it. I remember like looking up at the moon and feeling like a very motherly feeling. And I kind of grew up without a lot of motherly experience. And
Sure.
so
Yeah.
I imagine that's what it would have been, and that for me, that really fulfilled my energy, is just being able to look at
Yes.
that moon and feeling that motherly, loving energy. But you mentioned, I love that you mentioned before. I want to just piggyback something because I don't want, before we start to draw cards, and just so you know, everybody, we're going to be drawing cards.
Yes.
So that's why we have this up here. So connect with your heart, breathe, pick a card. It's really fun if you can just comment a number that you're looking for. And what that does is it really just gives you the opportunity to tap into your own intuition. And like Lee said, with this work, what we do, Lee and I, we're more of guides. So the power is within you. And so that what that does is it encourages you to strengthen your own intuition and pick the number. So Lacey, yay, we get to connect with you, and we're going to pull the fourth card that we pull is for you. So fun. So, but I wanted to think, there was one little piggyback I didn't want to miss out on, because you had said something like, does this belief benefit me? And I remember pulling up someplace, and the timing was so perfect. And I remember seeing like all of these butterflies. And I thought to myself, oh my goodness, this is a sign. It means something. And I had this moment. And then there was a little piece of me that said, it's just a bunch of butterflies.
Right.
And I was like, well, which one works for me? Which one? And so, and I've continued to have stuff with butterflies. I love butterflies.
Yeah.
So, when I was jogging, and I was new to jogging after giving birth to my son, and I was really trying to recover. It was a big recovery period for me. And I had this butterfly, and as long as the butterfly was following me, I kept jogging, and I found this beautiful, beautiful spot that was like this back. So interesting. It was like this back area, side, like foresty area.
Oh, nice.
In the midst of a place you'd never expected.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, well, from here on out, I'm going to always see those butterflies as that I'm going the right direction.
Yes.
And sometimes I hear people and they're like, oh, I saw this feather, and I immediately had the feeling that it was my grandma saying hello.
Yes.
And I think that's good. Like, if that's how you feel,
I
say, don't let yourself talk don't let that, say, oh no, it's not, it's just coincidence. You can, if that's what helps you, but I don't think there's anything wrong with just taking a moment and receiving that message and saying, I'm gonna allow myself to accept that love or that message, that guidance. And then that's where we start to be, once we're open to that, that's when we start seeing more and more.
Exactly.
And more. And it doesn't have to be obsessive, but it can be a natural flow of, okay, well, I'm going to be open to more guidance, to more synchronicities.
Yes.
And then just go with that.
Yes. I always like to say too that I like to invite signs into my space. So it's kind of less of an expectation or an obsessiveness about it, that, I invite it into my space. And I will just say very quickly that doing readings for, the time period that I've done readings, a lot of the times what spirit loves to come through with is the signs that they give people. And I have had people's, like grandmother energies and stuff like that kind of, be in my ear and be like, I worked really hard to get that sign across. And they're kind of just like, oh, it's probably just a butterfly, or it's probably just a bird. So I kind of, in the channel that's like, no, she was there in that moment. So spirit does, I will say, on top of that, does work very much that way through those signs and synchronicities. Absolutely.
So Amber says, wow, on the butterfly. So
yes.
I'm sure I'm not the only one that does the butterfly thing. They're so beautiful.
Yeah, they are. I love butterflies too. Yeah.
But for each one, and what I like to do, you guys, is, it's so easy to look things up right now. You can just say, oh, this means that, and this means that. But what I like to do is I like to explore what I think the meaning is for me before I look it up.
Yeah.
Because what you do then is you get to allow the messages to come in for you. And if they're different, if your messages for what you thought that message was is different, it doesn't mean it's wrong. It means that it has an added unique layer for you.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And so just, Elizabeth said, I've had a hard time separating mind and messages. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that's really common, to be honest. And I think kind of to piggyback on something you said, the more that you kind of get into really everything that you're just saying about asking, what does this feel like for me? I always like to go with feeling too over what am I thinking? Because, your thoughts can be 1,000 different things. But, the feeling is really the thing I like to sink into. So, I like telling people to like ask, and I believe you said this, but ask kind of like how you feel about it. Like, how does this, make you feel? Is this for me? Do I think this is for me? And chances are that, it probably is that, 99% of the time, that's what I find. Like it is for you. So, but I think that's common, separating the mind and the message there. So just to comment on that. But
yeah, and especially when we're beginning. And what I like to think of it is we've allowed our minds to have full control of our life. We've allowed our logic and logic only to have full control of our life for the most part. If we're here and we're adults, now there's something valuable to just allowing your psychic sense. Or those other levels, and even working with your imagination. I know that sounds odd, but your imagination, there's a lot of almost hurt around imagination in adults.
Yeah.
Feel like they're not allowed to use their imagination, and or if they do, oh my goodness, they're going to lose their mind or something.
Yeah.
But just healing that message around imagination. You say, you know what? I allow myself to use my imagination in a healthy way, and I allow myself. And when you do that, you start to be open more and more to growing that psychic connection and hearing those messages. And the more you do it, the more it becomes like you can filter through, this is my mind, or this is me making stuff up, or oh, this is actually a message. It's just the practice of doing it.
Absolutely. Yeah. You start to get much more familiar with what feels like actually, connection or a message, I'll say, from maybe spirit or whatever word that you have for that. I call it spirit. And what's just kind of your mind trying to get in there and be like, hey, here I am. So yeah, absolutely. It starts to get so much easier. And I love that you said that, because I tell people that all the time. It gets easier when you practice it. It's a process. It is.
Okay, so we have some people ready to pull cards. So,
cool.
Let's see. Okay, so Lacey, let's see. Lacey says, sometimes I get confused with imagination. I decided when it's very random and it comes out of left field, then it's more likely a message or a sign. I mean, you can just tap into your heart too. I feel it's like this. Let me explain it like this. So it's like when you meet someone and you've never met them before, there's two things that's going to happen. Your mind and your logic is going to step in, and your mind is going to say, how are they dressed? What are the stereotypes that I think of? What maybe they look like somebody else you knew. So that's your mind, okay? But in order to tap into your intuition, you have to allow your mind to say, okay, yes, I acknowledge all of that information, but for this moment, I'm going to feel.
Yes.
And so you look at them, you open your heart, and you look in their eyes, and you feel a softness. And from there, you can feel their energy and truly feel them. So that's just one example of how your mind's there. We're not ignoring it completely, but as long as you're working in your heart and connecting for the highest good possible, whether it's imagination or your brain or your feelings, it's all a matter of honing in to that connected feeling with divine and filtering everything through there.
So, yeah. Okay. I like that.
I'm going to address that since you said it.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to say to that as well?
I think you put it beautifully, to be honest. And to me, the example that I use sometimes is just almost like, it just kind of triggered it in my mind when you were saying meeting someone. But I do like this example. But you can meet someone maybe they're saying, all of the right things, everything that maybe you want to hear. And your mind immediately hones in on that and is like, well, they're saying everything that I want to hear. And, this is great. But every single cell otherwise in your body is maybe screaming at you like, I don't know. That's a good, for me, a good example of mind kind of versus intuition, where it's sort of like your mind is very like, oh, but they're saying all these lovely things and everything that I need to hear. But there's something in maybe your heart center or your, just general intuition, in your body that's kind of just like, oh, I don't know about this. Like something feels maybe off. And again, not to say that that person is bad or anything like that, but that, there is this kind of happening of the mind coming in and then the intuition and what's happening in the body. And as you described it, like in your heart center, that's what I love to drop into, because that's where, the magic really happens.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Love that. So, hello, Kimberly. We're doing a card pull here really soon.
Hey, Kimberly.
Popped in at a really good time. And Lacey, yes, sending you big love. I'm glad she said, I recently had a instant heart feeling. Just sending love.
Yeah, it's a good thing. Heart feelings are good.
So I'm going to let you, Lee, you said Lee's pretty new to cards, but he has recently got this amazing deck gifted to him. And so I'm going to let Lee pull our first card. So I'm going to set the intention that this is for the person who's asking for card number 1. And if you're just hopping on, make sure to get into that StreamYard link. I'm going to go ahead and paste it again. Let's see. And then go ahead and, and pop in and tell us your number. And again, the reason why we do that is so that you can have that practice of you using your intuition. So we'll tap into our intuition for the card pull. You tap into your intuition for choosing the card. So for card number 1, that is Lee is going to pull that for you now. If you want to share your deck and
so I don't know how I should do this. Okay, so we have a 1. Okay, so I am new to the cards. So I'm gonna pull 1. I'm just gonna ask. I like to ask Spirit. So can I have the first card and just kind of see what falls out or what comes out? Okay. Just give me 1 second. So sometimes I do try to intuit kind of what they mean. Sometimes I still kind of have to look a little bit. All right, so this one's sticking out. What the book kind of has to say, but it kind of just depends on the card for me. Again, I am kind of new to it. Oh, I like this though. So I'm going to show everyone. So the first card I got, oh, can you see that? Is Insight, it says. So who, Insight. So who did pick number, I'm doing it for number 1, right? The person who picked number 1 is.
Yeah, so Catherine said 1, and then I'm trying to catch all the.
Yeah.
So far, so this is Catherine and whoever chose number 1.
Okay, for some reason I was thinking there was another person. Maybe it was just Catherine that picked number 1. So this is at least, for Catherine.
Then whoever pops on. Some people don't always get a chance to step into the link. So
yeah.
So show up as Facebook user. So it's like this person up as Facebook user. So if you're popping in late, just make sure that you click on the StreamYard link. What that does is it allows you to join our live. So otherwise,
so we can see who's commenting instead of just Facebook user. Yeah.
So
Insight.
I'll pull out and you can share that energy from card number 1.
Yeah, so the energy that I'm kind of picking out, I will kind of pull it up in the book real quick too. But the energy that I'm getting from this is more, I feel like if I'm kind of speaking to whoever, which I am, speaking to whoever picked card 1, it's more about just kind of looking inward, because that's immediately what I get from the word insight. And allowing, I keep hearing in my head actually right now, allowing yourself to receive insight as well from the other side, and allowing, I just want to say allowing to receive that information from the other side and that insight. And also insight to me connects very much to, again, like intuition, hypersensitivity, if you're very empathic, all of those kind of things. So kind of just really honing in on those and trusting them. I keep hearing the word trust as well. So trusting them. So whatever that kind of looks like to you. And then I will just read, if you don't mind, just a little from the book, just because I get kind of curious what it has to say.
I think that's amazing. I'm a reader, and
Yeah.
I have them all memorized. I work with only cards.
Yeah.
So you do the cold readings, so it's a little bit different. But I love to go to the creator's information because they put so much into intention into that, and I feel like it just creates layers if we use our own personal intuition and then also get to read. So I think it's great if you can read. I think that would be wonderful.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, so it does have a little thing here. So, and I agree with you. I love kind of hearing, what the creator has to say because their energy is so much in the cards as well. So it says, you are or about to see further, higher, and deeper through space and time. Your psychic skills, are expanding and seeing through the lens of your soul. Hone your abilities by reading about or doing a workshop on intuitive development. We are all psychic. It is part of who we are, but we have thrust this ability into the background in favor of other senses. Problems occur when we keep looking at the manifested world for proof of our worth. You are worthy because you are here. There is nothing to prove. So I love that. That was, and that's around what the energy I was sensing from the card as well. So that's awesome.
I like it, and I don't have anything to add. I think it's wonderful.
Cool.
Sometimes I'll have little hits and I'll add more, but I love everything that you did. So I'm going to go ahead. Actually, I've already pulled card number 2 while you were waiting.
Cool. Yeah.
And pulled it. And so I pulled from this deck. Where's the top? Okay, here we go. So I like this deck. It just was calling me today. Magic Messages from the Fairies. It's one of my favorites. It's an oldie, but a favorite, a goodie.
Yeah.
So I pulled this for card number 2 for whoever's popping on. And this can be also for the replay, remember. Perfect timing. This is the right time for you to move forward. So I love this message. I believe that one thing I just want to make a note of is that it can have so many meanings. So Catherine said, "Oh my, yes, I'd love to hear more about what, whether that, what you're thinking there." So, but it's really, sometimes we just wait and we wonder, and sometimes going forward can also mean going inward. So I just wanted to add that little note. But what I'm feeling is if you're wondering if it's time to step forward, or you're just holding yourself back or just not sure, the answer for you is yes. It's perfect timing. Now is the time to step into yourself, to step into those changes you're thinking of creating, even if those changes are not necessarily active outwardly changes, even if they're just inner changes and personal changes. So I'm going to let you pop in and tell me if you had any added extra insight, and then I'm going to read from the deck as well.
Yes. I really love everything you just said. And just very quickly, that is also for the past few months a message that I've been getting from my angels and things of that nature as well, to kind of give to my community and anyone who kind of comes across me, is that the time is now to step into your own power around things. So, kind of take charge with that. So yeah, absolutely.
So actually, this one, I just wanted to I'm doing this reading now, but I wanted to go back and just let you know that Catherine really enjoyed the card number reading from you. So,
awesome. Yeah, I saw that. I saw that. So I'm so glad, Catherine. That's awesome.
It's always nice when we can connect and really feel connected in this time of everyone being so separate all of the time.
Yes.
So, so I'm going to go ahead and read from here, Lee. So I'm going to hold this up. Says, this is the right time for you to move forward. If you're wondering when your desire will be fulfilled or when it is the best moment to make the change, the answer is now. The universal changes energies have aligned perfectly and opened a gateway for you to easily step through. This is one of those times in your life when you're on a roll and everything you touch turns to gold. Take advantage of this time. and the divine timing and make your move. Any additional preparation at this point would be akin to procrastination. Take one step at a time and move forward today. So another message that I'm hearing for you as well is, so for card number 2, if you got card number 2, I'm going to give you this little additional affirmation. Your affirmation, slow, and I want you to do this gently on yourself, because I'm getting the feeling that there's a lot happening that makes you feel quite sensitive. So gently but softly, I want you to embrace this mantra for card number 2. I step out of my comfort zone and into the fullness of me. And then whenever you feel anxiety as you're stepping out of your comfort zone, I want you to take a deep breath, and I want you to breathe into that anxiety as if it was a contraction. Because right now you are birthing a new reality. You're stepping into a new paradigm, a quantum leap into a new phase of your life. So card number 2, when you feel the anxiety as you start to expand, breathe into it and just see it as those labor pains, and breathe and relax and know that you are birthing a new, beautiful reality. So that's card number 2 with divine timing.
Amazing. I love that. That was really beautifully put. And I love the mantra for that. That's awesome.
So I'm going to let you pull the next one. So this is
Yeah.
card number 3, drum roll.
Card number 3. All right. All right. So I think that this one is jumping out at me because it kind of fell out of the deck a little bit. So this is interesting. I've never gotten this one before. And it is create space. Okay. So sometimes I just kind of need to connect for a second. So for anyone who picked 3, actually, I'll hold this up for another minute. So what I'm kind of hearing about this is to create space in your life, sort of similar to what I was talking about earlier, about space to cultivate joy within your life, space for yourself, and also I keep hearing boundaries right now. So while some people look at boundaries as this kind of like, ooh, boundaries, I don't know, I think of them as very gentle and, just kind of a healthy sort of format, if you will, that I don't know if that's the right word, but a healthy way of kind of navigating through our lives is through boundaries, and energetic boundaries too. So if there are things within your life that are kind of making you, or that feel kind of heavy, I'll say, that feel like they're not serving your highest good, it's good to kind of create your own space and carve out your own space there so that maybe you can implement some of the boundaries that are healthily needed in the situation, whether they're energetic or otherwise. In creating space, I just keep hearing just for you. So for you, to me, means, again, cultivating joy within your life, kind of coming back to what can I do that really raises my vibration or really uplifts me, I'll say. So that's what I am getting about the creating space. And I will say that there's something being said around boundaries with that as well. So again, boundaries don't have to be this harsh experience or anything like that, but it is a part of how we need to navigate here. And so whether they're energetic or they're physical or whatever it is, just kind of gently putting in place those boundaries so that you can shine your brightest light is what I just heard. So, and then I am going to just kind of see, I'll hold this up a minute, see what the book has to say as well. So it says, create a new space for new desires by learning how to be happy now. We all want certain things in our life to change, and it is up to each of us to do something about it. If you apply action from a position of truly wanting change, you will create evidence of that desire as manifestations, of change. Once you notice something you would like to change, take a breath and say thank you. Recognizing what you want to change brings you more clarity on what you would like to change it to. Okay. Your job is to create the space for your dreams and desires to fill. Do this and you will begin to receive direction and wisdom. Create this space by coming into balance, meditating, focusing on the moment, or thinking of a person, animal, place, or situation that makes you smile. I love that. Feel the smile stretch through your body and relax, knowing that your desire is on its way. You have empowered your whole being because you don't need conditions to change to feel joyous in the present. You are bathing in unconditional love. Breathe it in and enjoy how good you feel. I love that. So that's what the book has to say. And I love how eloquently they put that.
Yeah, I love that too. And I just wanted to let you know that those cards, I believe it was Amber. I kind of put it up as you were reading. Amber, we have her there. And then also
Yes.
there was someone else I had put up. But if you see a name pop up, it's because I'm putting up the card that you're reading for to help you out a little.
Oh, there we go. Okay, yeah, thank you. Okay, yeah, so Amanda and Amber. Yeah,
And
okay,
no,
cool.
no, I'm
Awesome.
sorry. I'm sorry. It's Amber and Theta.
Oh,
Theta.
was it Theta as well? Okay.
That was 3.
Oh,
So
okay. Oh, okay.
Theta
Awesome.
and
Cool.
Amber. So I just thought it was fun that so we could, in case you knew them, and either way we can connect with them. So
Yeah. Yes, thank you. Yeah.
so the only thing I felt that when you put that up, I thought, oh my goodness, I've been receiving that message a lot. Um, and especially during this time as things have been so incredibly intense.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, what I see when I see creating space, I did get recently, I've had a new message come in for that. So when I see creating space, I think of like sacred space. So
Sure. Yeah.
I immediately think of, oh, okay, well, I need to create a space where I can meditate. But the new message that I've been getting is to be creating space in our mind where we're not always occupied by the chaos that is going on
Sure.
around us. So, and so then it started, really being pushed to create boundaries around my time and my energy. And
Yes.
going,
Yeah.
okay, well, no, I'm not going to talk about the chaos that's going on in this world because I know it's just so easy to go to that. And,
Yeah.
and that, no, this particular time is going to be about me and my personal connection to divine and my personal connection to my present. So those people
Yes.
who are that I'm close to, really spending time where I'm looking in their eyes, I'm listening to what they have to say, I'm feeling the breeze
Yeah.
around me, and I'm not getting caught up in the chaos. So luckily, I really feel the energy really moving and shifting in a good way now. But these past months, I've been seeing creating that space in that
Yeah.
way, an extra message that it was new. I was new to getting that message
Yeah.
for that.
And can I just add really quick too? I have been receiving a similar message that I didn't think of until you said that, but
Okay.
even about like our social media and things like that, that it is, I keep receiving from the other side that it is a space. So we need to kind of treat it as such. So if there are things that you're constantly seeing kind of pop up on your feed that really just don't resonate with you or whatever it might be, to kind of figure out a way, I mean, and social media has all these different options now and things like that, to figure out a way to really cultivate a space that works for you. So I just wanted to add that, but that's something that I keep getting as well is, even online and on social media and things like that, it is a space that we are spending time and energy within. So yeah, I just wanted to add that quickly.
Yeah, definitely like tapping more. I don't know. I've been like commenting more on people that are creating because before I was just like, I get so busy with creating. I'm not a big consumer when it comes to scrolling and stuff because I'm
Yeah.
reading all the time. But I've made a special intention lately to really comment on people that are sending out a positive message
Yes.
because A, I realize the algorithms, and B, I want to see more of that. Like I
Yeah.
see more joy and uplifting and positivity.
Absolutely.
So definitely. So Amanda, number 2 has already been taken. I wanted to go ahead and connect with her.
Yeah.
And so if you were really called to number 2, that is actually a really beautiful card. So make sure you catch the replay. But I'm also going to be doing number 4. right now here soon. And so just stay on so that you can get that one from me. But because I do feel they're very connected and they're just going to have a connecting message. So, but I do have to say hello to my dear friend, Tara. Where is she? So Tara, I'm going to give a shout out to her. She's my girl.
Oh, that's cute.
We don't always get to connect. So Tara, pick a card or and then do the replay, or definitely stay tuned for card number 4. All right, so here goes. I'll just pull you off for a moment, Lee. I'm pulling from this deck, and I love it. It's totally out of print, but I now have like the mini ones available because I just couldn't say goodbye to my Goddess Guidance cards. So just pulling one from there. And this is a beautiful message. So Butterfly Maiden. Oh my goodness. I just realized we were talking about butterflies earlier. That's appropriate. Okay. So this card is about transformation, and there's just so much to this card. This is an action-packed card. So what it says is you're experiencing enormous change right now, which brings you great blessings. And, you know, because I think it's so powerful for you to tap into your intuition, whoever pulled card number 4, feel free to comment so that I can catch your, just say card number 4 so I can catch your comment again and just be able to talk with you personally. But also, if you in any way felt that this card was a valuable message for you, what I'd like you to do is just take a moment and look in, and I am hoping the lighting is good enough for you to see up close. I want you to see all of the butterflies and even the images, and just take a moment and tap into your center. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, what image really calls you right now? What butterfly, if there's a particular butterfly, what color is that butterfly? If it's, you know, something in the picture, what part of the picture is really calling you forward? And whatever that is, it's going to have an extra added message. So if you pick a color, say it now, pick your color, you know, share your color. If it was a piece in there, go ahead and type it in, because I want you to get that added extra message for you. But let's go into the wholeness of the message that you're getting today. So we all know the path of the caterpillar and the butterfly. We all know that during that time comes a time where we might have to wrap ourselves up and things get a little dark and sticky as we start to rebirth into that transformation. And so if you felt that during this time, if you've needed to let go of some things and you felt just, you know, had some sticky and gooey as you're trying to burst out and spread your wings, I want you to just really be patient with yourself. I want you to honor that this is a process, and sometimes it's going to feel wonderful and beautiful and expansive, and sometimes it's going to feel heavy and healing. And just honoring each stage completely, and knowing that it's not going to go from A to B, and really nurturing those beautiful seeds that turn into sprouts, because nothing blooms all year. You're going to have moments where we're just these tiny, beautiful little green sprouts, and just really giving nurturing time to that process. So that's the message. I'm going to bring Lee in and see if he has anything to add. And then
I'm smiling because I love how you just put that. The, like, you know, nothing blooms all year, and sometimes we're just going to have these moments where we are, excuse me, these tiny green sprouts. Apparently, I can't say that sentence, but it's okay. So yeah, I love that, and honestly, I think you wrapped that up beautifully. I think just to kind of go off a little bit what you said, or kind of reiterate even, but That yes, it is a process. And absolutely that I will even share very quickly from my own experience when I was going through a transformational process like this. I actually kept getting a sign from spirit where I would see this I would call it like a meme, I guess, or like an art picture on Facebook, but I would see different ones of the same exact thing, but it had a caterpillar turning into a butterfly and it just said, give yourself time.
Mm.
And then as I really stepped into all of this, I started seeing a picture with a butterfly that said, your time as a caterpillar has now expired or something like that. It's time to spread your wings. So I'm like, that was good, guys. But I love everything you said about that. Absolutely. That was great. Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah, so Lacey did 4. She's a 4, 4, 4, 4, 4.
Yeah. I believe Kimberly did, if she's still here too. I looked as you were speaking. And then
Yeah.
someone who was a Facebook user, so we couldn't see who they
Oh,
were.
yes,
But
okay, Facebook user and maybe it was Kimberly, both, and Kimberly. So Kimberly, that one was for you. If you had time to see a particular color that really popped out at you, please do mention it, and I'll give you the little added extra goodness that's meant just for you if your intuition really called you to that. So I'm going to mention a couple things before I want to tell about the goddess itself. This what I love about this particular deck is that it also tells you about the goddess. And it's just short enough, but you can learn about the history of the goddess, because I also, we started the conversation about just kind of breathing in and taking that energy. And if you're not necessarily feeling like feeling like you need a little bit, not necessarily feeling confident in spreading your wings and feeling like you need a little bit of a boost, you can also just breathe in that extra energy from that archetype of the butterfly maiden goddess. So, but I'm just going to go through real quick before I share about the goddess herself, so that you can really feel like you're tapping into that energy and that that's out there in that archetype. So do we have down here someone who I thought I saw a color?
I see blue and green with Lacey. They
Okay.
said purple, and then Kimberly also said purple.
Purple. Okay, so we have 2 purples, 1 blue, and 1 green. Okay, so what I like to do, because it makes it really simple, and this way you can do this in the future, is I like to think of the chakra colors. So for blue, if it's feeling like a really dark blue, I think of it as an extra message. And so there's 2. So there's a dark blue or there's a light blue. If it was a really light blue, and you can tap into and see which feels more like the messages for you. If it was a light blue, it's going to be something in regards to your throat chakra. So then it gives you the message that whatever you're going through, as far as that transformation, as you spread your wings, that just being open to healing your throat chakra, being open to really growing it and expanding it, and knowing that you have the ability to speak your truth in love. If it's that darker color, what's more of an indigo, I really, and this is just using the chakra method so that you can look this up anytime, and use it always. So you just think of that third eye. So that might, if you're having the dark blue, I feel like that's trusting your intuition. I feel like it also could be overthinking things, or possibly if you're needing to let go of some old thoughts about yourself or some old beliefs around your identity, just kind of letting that go. So those are those blues. And then for the purple, the purple I feel is very much your spirituality. So that's your crown chakra. That's really being open. If you're seeing purple, you're really being guided to tap into your spirituality, to spend that time connecting with your unseen guides and really grow that relationship. And you're being guided. If you're seeing purple, it is a very good thing. That means you are surrounded by a lot of loving unseen beings, really helping you shift into this transition. So, and then did we have another? Oh, green. Green, and now you can kind of feel through this and see which ones work best for you. I love to hear your insight, because if a color was a different color, that's okay. Always trusting your intuition. It doesn't always have to fit a certain place. We can always find the extra message for you. We just have to open our heart and be willing to receive. So the green is right there with the heart energy. I really feel with your green, it's really about your heart. So there could be, during this transformation that you're going through as this Butterfly Maiden, some time for healing needed, or maybe some gentle time of opening your heart. So asking yourself, how can I be more open? How can I breathe in and just open my heart, and trusting that love is strength. So for whoever really got that green, it's going to be love is strength, because we have so much around love and expanding your heart chakra being a weakness. So just reminding that love is strength, and stepping into your peace and your strength when you open your heart chakra. So there's those extra messages. I think that's super fun when you can tap into your own energy and really get that extra message for you.
Love that. Love it so much.
Did you have any insight as I was talking?
No, honestly, I think I was just kind of enamored with what you were saying. I'm like, this all sounds great. So, yeah, no, I think you wrapped it up perfectly.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to share a little bit about the Butterfly Maiden, because this is the part that I really enjoy. So, okay. So about the Butterfly Maiden is a Hopi Native American Kachina, a spirit who ensures that crops yield healthy and bountiful harvests. She is a springtime goddess who helps us escape from any cocoon situation that's trapping us or impeding our growth or joy. If you're feeling stuck, she's a wonderful goddess to call upon during this emerging process. She'll also guide you through life transitions and help you spread your wings. I don't know how much you could see that while I was reading.
Yeah, I could see it. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. No, that's beautiful. Yeah. And I'm just going to point out really quick too. Yeah. What Lacey said there. So chills on the top of my head and legs. Yeah. So that's usually my sign that something really resonates. So that's cool.
Well, I love this so much. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for joining here with us today.
Yes.
Lee, you were such a pleasure to have on. I hope we get to do this again.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on. I loved this. This was great. Really, really great.
It's a good time. Well, I love your energy, and thank you guys for gals for coming today. And I look forward to connecting with you again. I'll be doing it again on Wise Wednesday, and so Wise Wednesday at 1 and Mountain Standard Time, and Mindful Mondays at 2:22 Mountain Standard Time. So I look forward to seeing you again. Big love, and enjoy the rest of your week. Take care. Bye-bye.